Steele, those guys played together. They were the toughest backcourt ever. Got to a conference final and couldn't beat Golden State in the Western Conference final. I love them. Everything I learned as a kid about basketball was from Sloan and Van Leer.
So this is interesting because I agree with you. They were the toughest backcourt ever in the NBA. It's 50 years ago, and nobody remembers this. The Bulls in that era, they couldn't get past the Warriors, or they couldn't get past the Lakers, or they couldn't get past the Bucks. Something always happened, but it struck me they had Bob Love on that team. They had Chet Walker on that team. They had Tom Boerwinkle on that team. They were a big physical team, Mike. They sort of played like the Bears before Jordan. I mean, Jordan changed basketball in Chicago with just a different style of play. Didn't you think they were sort of like the Bears?
No, they weren't sort of like the Bears. They were exactly like the Bears. They were that plays in Chicago, that toughness of Sloan and Van Leer and Love and Walker. And I feel blessed. I talk to Chet Walker occasionally now, and he was probably the most unsung of those guys that foursome, that quartet, and then Boerwinkle was there. You're right, Tony. They couldn't get past Kareem and Wilt. They couldn't get past them. When they finally got past them, they lost Game 6 on Mother's Day in Chicago to the Warriors, which broke my heart because I was there. But the first game I ever saw, the first NBA game I ever saw, Jerry Sloan was in it starting at guard for the Bulls.
So let me just say this about Jerry Sloan, because he's better known as a coach than a player, but he was all defensive team, first team, 4 different times in the NBA. What he did in Utah to go to the playoffs so many times, to get to the finals twice, you got to coach in Utah. You don't get free agents coming to Utah.
No.
He had